Okay, so we're diving right in today with something I'm sure you guys deal with like all the time, every day, multiple times a day even. Professional emails.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Like the unsung heroes, or
It's a,
sometimes maybe the villains, I don't know, of our work lives.
yeah, sometimes they're a little scary.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we're going to talk about all that today. So we really want to make sure you understand, like, not just the what, but the why behind writing a really good email
Right.
that is effective. And we're going to really try to equip you with the insights that you need to craft messages that not only get the job done, which is, of course, I think the number one goal, but also build credibility, which is something that people don't often think about.
Right. It's not just about getting the message across.
Exactly.
It's about the impression you're making.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
save time, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're all about being more efficient, more productive.
Mm.
So we want to make sure we're not wasting time with emails. So we're going to break it all down, everything from structure, some really powerful phrases you can use, spotlight common blunders that, even the best of us sometimes make, and talk about tone, too, which can be a little bit tricky.
Right. Because tone gets lost easily
Yeah.
in an email.
So much nuance there.
Absolutely.
So emails are important, but they might seem simple on the surface, right? But their impact really goes beyond what we often think about.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. A well-crafted email, it's not just about getting that information out there, right?
Right.
You're actually building trust when you do it right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because when you communicate clearly and respectfully, they're more likely to see you as competent, as reliable, right?
Mhm.
Like you've got it together. And it also, it can actually make everyone's lives easier.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you can, write a concise email, it cuts down on all that mental clutter, all that back and forth.
All those threads. Oh, my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Think about it. When you get a really great email, like one that's really clear, it's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it?
It's like, oh, thank goodness, I know what's going on here.
Exactly. That's the kind of impact we want to have.
Yeah.
And this all plays into your career.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People notice the good communicators,
Yeah.
the people who can write effectively.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, okay, if I were on the other side of this, like, what would I be thinking?
Yeah.
If this is how I'm communicating with them. But I think we've all been there. We've all gotten emails that are just like, what is going on here? Or they make you cringe a little bit. Like, oh, this is
Right.
not good. So what's the real cost of those kind of, not so great emails?
Well, I mean, in terms of credibility, it can be huge.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you get an email and it's like full of typos. Or the main point is like buried under this massive wall of text.
Right.
You're going to start to wonder, right? Like, is this person really paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
Are they professional? And it can, unfortunately, it can color how you see them in general, their abilities.
Right. Like subconsciously you're just like, not sure about this.
Yeah. And on a practical level, those unclear emails or impolite emails, they just create more work.
Oh my gosh, yes.
More questions, more misunderstandings. And in the end, everyone's just wasting time.
So boil it all down for our listeners. What are the absolute must-haves for a good professional email?
Okay. At its core, a really effective professional email, it lets the reader know 3 things right away. Boom, boom, boom. Who's writing to them? Why are they writing? And what, if anything, do they need the reader to do?
Okay, yeah.
And this all needs to be in a format that's easy to read, that's respectful of their time.
Makes sense. Okay, so how do we build this this digital handshake, I guess? Yeah. That's effective. How do we structure it?
Think of it like building anything. You need a solid framework. And for emails, we can break it down into 5 main parts.
Okay.
The first, and probably one of the most important, is the subject line.
That little line of text that determines whether your email gets opened right away, saved for later, or, let's be honest, just ends up in the trash.
Right. Exactly.
So what makes a good subject line?
It needs to be clear and short, like a headline. It should tell the reader exactly what the email is about.
Okay, yeah.
So instead of something vague like hi or quick question, be specific.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting request for Thursday at 2 p.m. or follow up on Q3 marketing report or even, application for senior analyst position.
Okay.
Those are all much more informative.
Right, yeah.
And they help the reader prioritize, They don't have to spend time figuring out what you want.
Right, yeah. No more guessing games.
Exactly.
So we've got their attention with a clear subject line. What's next?
Next is the greeting. And This is where you set the tone. You want to be polite and respectful right from the start. If you know the person's name, use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Dear Mr. Johnson, or hello, Emily.
Okay.
If it's a group email, hi team, usually works.
Now, what about those more casual greetings like, hey, or what's up? When are those okay, and when should we, avoid them?
I'd say when you're first emailing someone in a professional setting, or if they're in a more senior role, it's best to stick with the more formal greetings,
Okay, yeah.
like dear or hello. You can be more casual as you get to know people,
Yeah,
but at first it's better to be a little more formal.
right. Err on the side of caution.
Exactly.
So, clear subject, polite greeting. What's the point of that first line of the actual email?
Yeah, first line is important. It tells the reader why you're emailing.
Okay.
You want to get to the point pretty quickly. Something like, I hope this email finds you well. That's always a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're emailing someone new, you can say, my name's Alex, and I'm reaching out to you regarding, or,
Yeah.
I'm writing to inquire about.
Okay.
Be direct. Don't bury the reason for your email.
Right. I'm so guilty of that sometimes. I'm like rambling, and then, okay, here's what I want.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we've set the stage. Now we get to the main event, the body of the email. What are the golden rules here?
Here's the thing. You got to be clear, concise, and organized.
Okay.
People are busy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to read a novel in their inbox.
Yeah, no novels.
Right. So break up your message into short paragraphs. Each paragraph should focus on one point.
Okay.
Bullet points and numbered lists can be really helpful too, especially if you have a lot of information to share.
Oh, yeah, those are lifesavers. I'm a huge fan of bullet points.
It just makes it so much easier to read.
So much easier.
Yeah. And how should we organize the content?
Think about it like a story. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So first, you clearly state what you want. What's your goal?
Then you give the necessary background information. Why are you writing?
Okay.
And finally, and this is really important, you clearly state what action you need the reader to take. If there's a deadline, mention that too.
Yeah.
This way, your message is easy to follow and there's no confusion.
Right. No one's like, wait, what was I supposed to do again?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. Let's talk about the closing. How do we wrap things up and sign off?
The closing is your last chance to make a good impression. Keep it polite and professional.
Right?
Phrases like, looking forward to your response, or please let me know if you have any questions, or thank you for your time. Those are all good options.
And what about the actual sign off, like sincerely or best regards? Any that we should avoid?
I would avoid anything too casual, like cheers or talk soon,
Okay, yeah, that makes it
especially if you're emailing someone for the first time. Stick with the classics. Sincerely, best regards, kind regards.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, your signature should include your full name, your title, and your contact information.
Right. Make it easy for them to get back to you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know how to structure an email. Now let's talk about some specific phrases that we can use, like power phrases that really make our emails shine.
I love this part.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you need to ask for something, instead of being super direct, try softening it a bit.
Yeah.
You can say, could you please provide me with,
Oh, yeah.
would you mind sharing?
Mm-hmm.
I would be grateful if you could.
Okay.
Those are all polite and respectful.
Yeah, I like those. And what about when we're giving information? How do we do that clearly?
Please find attached. Is always a good one. Everyone knows what that means.
Mm-hmm.
You can also say, I want to inform you that.
Okay.
Or I'd like to update you on.
Yeah.
Those are nice and straightforward.
Right. Okay. Follow-ups. Sometimes this can be a little awkward, right?
Right. But you have to be persistent, but in a nice way. You can say, just checking in on the status of,
Oh, yeah.
or following up on my previous email regarding, I wanted to see if you've had a chance to review.
Mm-hmm.
Those all work well.
Yeah. Now, how about when we need to schedule a meeting?
When you're scheduling a meeting, be clear about your availability. You can say, would you be available for a quick meeting on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Okay.
Or, does 10 a.m. on Thursday work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Be specific.
And how can we end an email on a positive note? Leave a good, lasting impression.
Thank you for your assistance, especially if they've helped you with something.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your prompt attention to this matter. That shows you respect their time.
Okay.
Or looking forward to your feedback, or looking forward to connecting. Those are good too, depending on the situation.
I like those.
The more you use these phrases, the more natural they'll become.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's talk about some common email mistakes. What are some things that even experienced professionals sometimes mess up?
One of the biggest ones is tone.
Oh, yeah, tone is tricky.
It is. You don't want to be too casual, like avoid slang and overly familiar greetings.
Right.
But you also don't want to be too formal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can sound stuffy and impersonal.
Oh, okay. So what's the sweet spot?
Aim for a neutral, polite tone,
Mm,
respectful. And think about who you're emailing and what you're emailing about. That should help you find the right tone.
right. Context is key.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what about how our emails look? Does that matter?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay.
Think about it. Big blocks of text are intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
No one wants to read that.
Yeah.
So break up those long paragraphs.
Okay.
Use bullet points or lists to make things stand out.
Mm.
And don't be afraid of white space. It makes your email easier to read.
Yeah, white space is our friend.
It is.
I'm always like, enter, enter, enter. Give me some space.
Exactly.
So other than that, are there any basic errors that just scream unprofessional?
Oh, yeah. Typos and grammatical errors. Those
Yeah.
are never good. Always proofread your emails before you hit send. Use spell check, grammar tools. You can even ask a colleague to give it a quick look.
Yeah,
It's worth the extra effort.
especially for, really important emails.
Right.
What's another common mistake?
Leaving the subject line blank.
Oh, wow.
It happens more than you think,
Yeah.
but it just looks unprofessional.
Yeah.
People might ignore your email if they don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
So always take a minute to write a clear subject line.
Okay, and lastly, what's one mistake that can lead to a lot of back and forth, those reply all chains that we all dread?
Not being clear about what you want the reader to do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If your email is vague, the reader's left guessing, and then they have to email you back for clarification.
Right.
So be direct. Be specific about what action you need them to take.
Yeah, spell it out. Okay, so we've talked about the basics and some common mistakes. Now let's talk about how to adjust our communication style for different situations. Because, tone can really change depending on who we're emailing.
Right, absolutely. You wouldn't email your best friend the same way you'd email your boss.
Exactly. So let's say we're applying for a job. What kind of tone should we use?
For job applications, you want to be formal and respectful. Your language should be very professional.
Okay.
In the opening, state the purpose of your email clearly. Something like, Dear hiring manager name, I am writing to express my interest in the job title position.
Mm-hmm.
Be specific.
Right. Okay, so now let's say you're emailing your team. How does that change?
When you're emailing your team, you can be a bit more relaxed. You can use a friendlier tone,
Okay.
but still keep it professional and focused on the task at hand. Something like, Hi team, just a quick update on project name. Keep it brief and to the point.
Right. Everyone's busy. Okay, so what about when you're emailing clients or customers? How do we handle that?
With clients, you always want to be polite and professional. You're representing your company.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on providing solutions and be helpful. Even when things get tough, stay professional and try to find a resolution.
Yeah.
Always keep the customer in mind.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about those really tricky situations? Like if you need to address a conflict or a complaint?
In those situations, it's super important to stay calm and neutral. Don't get emotional, even if the other person is.
Right.
You can say something like, I understand your concern regarding,
Mm-hmm.
or let's work together to find a solution to this issue.
Okay.
That shows you're taking them seriously and that you're willing to work things out.
Yeah. Be solution-oriented.
Exactly.
Okay, let's put all of this into practice. So imagine you need to email your manager to request a day off. Let's say his name is Mr. Taylor, and you need Friday, May 5th off for a personal reason. How would you write that email?
Okay, so first the subject line. Keep it simple and clear. Request for leave Friday, May 5th.
Okay, good.
Then, Dear Mr. Taylor, I hope you're having a productive week. I am writing to formally request a day of leave on Friday, May 5th, due to a personal matter.
Okay.
You can then add, I've already made arrangements to ensure that all my urgent tasks are completed before my absence.
Okay.
And then wrap it up with, please let me know if this presents any issues or if you require any further information from my end. Thank you for your consideration. Best regards, your name, your job title.
That's a great example. It's clear, concise, and professional.
Exactly.
Now, let's give our listeners a few more scenarios to think about. First, try writing an email requesting a meeting with a potential new client. It can be a virtual meeting.
Okay.
Second, think about how you'd write a follow-up email after a job interview, a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And third, how would you thank a senior colleague who gave you some really helpful advice on a project? just to show your appreciation.
Great examples.
Yeah. And listeners, whether you actually write these emails out or just kind of think about them in your head, taking the time to practice will really help you solidify what we've talked about today.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect. Or at least, much better.
Yeah, it really does.
The more you do it, the more confident you'll become.
Yeah. So as we wrap up today, remember that being good at writing professional emails is a skill that anyone can learn. It's not magic.
It's not magic, it's practice.
It's practice.
And a little bit of know-how.
Right.
Which is what we're here for.
Exactly. To recap, what are the key things our listeners should remember?
Okay, so always aim for clear, well-structured emails.
Yeah.
Keep your language polite and concise. Avoid those common mistakes that we talked about. They could really hurt your credibility.
Right.
And adjust your tone to fit the situation and who you're emailing.
Right.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I think most importantly, just keep practicing.
Yes. The more you practice, the better you'll get.
Exactly. It becomes second nature.
It does.
Yeah. And before we go, think about this. How can mastering written communication like email open doors for you? How can it help you build stronger relationships, both professionally and personally? And how can it contribute to your overall success? It's definitely something to think about.
It's a skill that's really worth investing in.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.
And happy emailing, everyone.
Yeah, happy emailing. We'll see you next time.